Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Star Project Veterans Voices. I'm your host, AJ Cox. And before we get into everything, and we're going to have one heck of a veteran story for you, but before we get into it, if you're enjoying this podcast, make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. There's a couple ways you can support us. You can go there. You can click on that merchandise tab. You can go in there and get you some cool merchandise. You can get you a cool hat, shirt. There's all kinds of stuff, goodies in there for you. And if you have a veteran-owned business or something of that nature and you would like to partner with us, we can do that as well. Just shoot me an email, lostartprojectveteransvoices@gmail.com. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project, man. They're out there doing amazing things. Like always, if you don't know anything about them, go check them out. Even if you do, check them out again. Anything we can do to help support those guys, it would be much appreciated. But you can always find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, here we are, man. I got Drew Cox. Man, that's a great last name and a great first name. I don't know what the deal is and why I like it so much, but welcome, man. How you doing?
I'm awesome. Snowed in. How about you?
Yeah, you know what? Same. Snow came in and just surprised us all and said, nope, you get to hang out in house for a while. So here we are, man. I love it.
I don't know if I can go anywhere. Lafayette, Indiana is pretty packed right now. So,
well, you're a little further north than what I am. I'm down in Oklahoma, so although this is snowed in for us, for you it's probably just another day. But for us down here, it's pretty big snow. We had 6-8 inches, and it's still coming down every now and again.
Well, when I heard that, when the South is getting all this snow, I'm like, well, the difference is you guys aren't as prepared, like your power grid and stuff is not as prepared for it. So it's like it's not quite a travesty up here, but still,
very true, man. Yeah. Well, shoot, I'm excited to hear your story, man. And I'm always excited to have a fellow Marine musician on. It's always fun for me because, as you know, I was a musician too. So we get to reminisce on that and people we know together and stuff like that. So it should be a good time.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. Being in the band was, it's just such a unique job. I'm so glad I did that. It was just like the most bizarre, unique kind of just indescribable combination of things, you know what I'm talking about. But.
Absolutely, man. Well, shoot, let's start at the beginning then. Let's go back to where you grew up. Tell me a little bit about that. What was that like? And then what eventually drew you to military service?
So I grew up in southern Henry County, Indiana. So my mom and dad, mom has mostly lived in Spiceland, Indiana. My dad's farm is outside of Newcastle, about 5 or 10 miles from Spiceland. So kind of in rural East Central Indiana. Went to a small school called Tri-High, and it was a consolidation of 3 small towns. So it's a high school that's out in the country. Grew up playing football, playing basketball, playing baseball. Started helping my dad farm when I was really helping him when I was like freshman or sophomore, like driving the chisel plow and hay wagons and whatnot. And after, so I always was fascinated with. I always wanted to be in the military when I was a little kid, and I completely just blame action films and stuff. Then that desire kind of went away when I was like maybe like a junior or something, and for some reason I got really interested in music. So I couldn't read music or anything, but when I was like a junior, I joined the band, and our band at high school was very small, and we didn't really march. So I marched maybe. I put on a bass drum or carried cymbals and maybe marched like 2 or 3 times total.
Yeah.
But mostly, what our band was doing was playing at football games, but I played on the football team. So
Right.
I played at the basketball games. And that was about it. And so I couldn't really read music very well. I started taking piano, so I got obsessed with music. I started taking piano lessons too, and I joined the band. So I somehow get this music bug in rural Indiana, and I'm at a high school where like some of the kids can't really read music. There's one band director for the whole K through 12, and yeah,
poor guy.
And so somehow I started taking piano lessons with this lady named Jenny Sowers, who she went to my church, and I could tell that she was awesome. She would play at church, and she was had like a degree in music and master's degree in music. And I remember being like a senior in high school, being like, "What are you talking about? Like, you can go to college and like get a degree in music?" I thought that you could go to school for like to be a lawyer or to be like a doctor. I didn't realize that you could go for like stuff like that.
Very nice.
I just decided to try and practice and put together an audition to try to get admitted to school. And so I practiced 2 piano pieces with her help for like over the course of several months. And I basically put together the first movement of Sonata in C by Mozart, and like very easy arrangement of a C major arrangement of Clair de Lune by Debussy, and it's originally in like D flat or something insane, but I got a C major version, and I took these 2 things to Anderson University, and I played for them like in like January of my senior year, and they were like, "Okay, so we'll let you major in like music business or something."
Oh, geez.
And I was like, "Dang it, I am so far behind." I was like, I've become obsessed with music. So I ended up going to school there. Like 10 people from my class ended up graduating or ended up joining the military. So it was like 69 of us or 68 of us or something like that. And
wow.
And a few of us didn't join right after high school, but I went to Anderson, and I had this music bug. And the first semester I was there, I took percussion lessons for the first time and practiced for so many hours. I just practiced hours and hours a day. And by the end of the first semester, they were like, "Okay, you can major in whatever, in percussion performance or something if you want."
Right.
A regular major. So I got hooked, and at the same time I was practicing, I was getting better. I was making all these new friends. And at the same time, I was still always in the back of my mind, like so many people from my high school had joined the military.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like this thing that was hanging over my head. I felt like I was like, man, I need to, like, my senior year of high school was September 11th. So I was like,
ooh, yeah,
thinking I need to like be doing something. And so it just kind of always loomed. And after college, I graduated and got a job playing on cruise ships.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
So I played on cruise ships for like 6 months. And
so you're playing like drum set?
Yeah.
With it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, very drum cool. Set and like the show band. So like in the front of the ship, you've got this big theater area. And when I played, this was 2007. Yeah, 2007. So like there were a ton of bands on ships. There was like the show band, there was like this rock band, there'd be like a jazz trio, and wow. there would be like 4 drum set players on the ship at once. And in the last 20 years, they've cut so much. Now they pipe in all the music, and now it's and all these cruise ships don't have nearly as many musicians. But man, when I was on, it was the good old days. It was just getting ready to end, and it was like you'd have like so many musicians, so many bands.
Wow.
And we didn't have to do work at all. We had to work like 2 hours, 3 hours a day with some days off. It was kind of a joke because you'd also be there with people that are, you'd be working with people from Philippines and Thailand, and they'd be sending home like $500 a month, and they're working like 12 hours a day, and they're on like 5 to 10 month contracts, and we're over here like playing it didn't feel like I didn't want to stay there for too long because that made me feel kind of dirty, like it was just felt icky. So, and also, I was also wondering like, where's my life going here? Because I've got enough chops to play on a cruise ship. Not necessarily sure where, don't really have many connections. Otherwise, I don't know that I'm necessarily really good enough to try to be a pro musician outside of this like world. So, and also we were just like partying too much and just got just working 3 hours a day, living on a cruise ship, working less than 3 hours a day. And it literally got to the point I was like, hey, you know what I need? I need to do that thing that I was originally going to do back in the day. I need to join the military. And so I went from playing on cruise ships to Marine Corps boot camp, which is just, what a transition that was.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now so you left the ships and kind of went to boot camp right away. Is that what happened?
I had a couple months. I was off the ship in like December, and then like I basically picked up a quick little job, and was setting myself up to go. Like as soon as I got off the ship, I was kind of like, by Christmas time, I was like, yeah, I'm joining the military. Wow. And so it took me a while to get MEPS and shipped and all that stuff, but I went on. And also, I was originally going. I didn't realize that there was a band, or maybe I did, but I didn't realize that. Maybe I was just thinking it was the President's Own or something. I had no chance, and so I was signed up for combat engineer.
Oh, no kidding! Okay,
be a different MOS and
oh, hold on.
Oh.
They got in a fight.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Good now?
We're good. We're good now. No, we're not good. We're not good. The cat wants in on it. The cat wanted in on it. All right. I think we're good now. Sorry.
No, it's all good. So something I told the recruiter, or somehow the recruiter got wind of me saying something about me playing drums or something.
Yeah.
And so it was like I had signed up. I had the paperwork filled out, was getting ready to go to boot camp, and the recruiter was like, whoa, stop. He's like, did you say you played an instrument? And I was like, yeah, I play drums. And he was like, no, we're switching this all up entirely. He's like, you can join the band. And I was like, okay. I was wondering about the band. So I can just be like in the Marine Corps as a regular Marine, go to boot camp, go to MCT, and be in a band, like at a regular base, not in the President's Own. And they're like, yeah. So, and also there was a little signing bonus, and there was also I had the choice of like 3 duty stations, and for some reason I chose Quantico. I don't know why I chose Virginia. So yeah, wake up call of the century, ship off to boot camp, get through boot camp okay, and come home and did 1 week of that recruiter. You stay at home an extra week. Yeah, recruiter's assistance. Mm-hmm. And went to MCT.
Well, tell me, if you don't mind, let's back up a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your boot camp experience. Like, I mean, were you prepared? Was it everything that you wanted? Like good, bad? What was it for you?
To me, I was a little bit. I would say I was fairly prepared in the sense that I could do, I could do like 5 pull-ups. I could like run 3 miles without dying. I could do maybe 70 crunches. So it was like I wasn't absolutely dying in boot camp, but
Yeah.
But I was also kind of welcoming the physical. I was okay with that. The thing that really bothered me about boot camp, like I remember on Black Friday, and they're throwing our stuff all around, and I remember like kind of laughing. I'm like, this is this is fine. This is not going to be a problem. I can like, it's like this, that they think they're messing with me, blah blah blah. But then as like time progresses, you're just like, the thing is, I'm not in control of my own life anymore.
Yeah. Very true.
So I went through boot camp okay, like and went through and didn't get dropped or anything. Didn't make I wish I would have tried a little bit harder and been like try to be like a squad leader or a guide or something like that, because I was a little bit older, but I was a scribe, and me and my rack mate Steve, who interestingly, Steve was the old Steve, my rack mate in boot camp was 31.
Wow.
He was a grunt too. And we were the only 2 people in our platoon that had degrees, bachelor's degrees. So they made us both scribes. And after that, I mean, me and Steve have stayed in touch. He supports my campaign.
Nice.
When I went to deploy, I went to Lejeune and went to hung out with him in Lejeune like a couple days before we left. And he, of course, as a grunt, he went to Afghanistan and Iraq.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got out, so we shipped the same day, so we got out at the same time. And as soon as we got out, we went to a Modest Mouse concert. It was funny because he did the thing, like he had like a few more days of leave. So he went back to Indiana, and he like gets back there, and I remember being like, and meeting him in like Indianapolis or somewhere before we were going to drive to this gig. And I just got, and I was like, all right, buddy, Steve, what did I miss? The USA the last 4 years. He's like, okay, there's this thing called dubstep, and it sounds like Transformers are like having sex. And I was like, what?
That's funny. Oh man.
Yeah. So we were super scribes, and made it back home. We hung out at home, like the kids that went to, there were a lot of us from Indiana that shipped with that one MEPS. There were like 7 of us. 3 of us, like, we were like hanging out. We would like go to bars and stuff while we were on our little leave. And then we went our separate ways for MCT or SOI, and went to MCT. Marine combat training at the time was 28 days, the little mini infantry school for us non-grunts. And then straight from there to the Armed Forces School of Music, which, as I understand now, is quite a bit different than it used to be.
Yeah, they've had some changes there. Yeah, that's for sure.
Is it like still 6 months for Marines and Navy or something?
It is for Marines and Navy. Yeah, the Army has got its own school. So for the Marines and Navy, it's still 6-month basic course. They are changing up a lot of the courses now. So some of them are shortened, and there's no telling what it'll end up being. But and who knows? Maybe the Navy and the Marine Corps won't be together, and maybe they'll join with the Army. I have no idea. There's so many things up in the air. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the Army. So this is funny. Like, I'm teaching jazz history at Purdue, and this kid in my class was telling me, he's like, "Hey, he's in an Illinois National Guard Army band, like right now," and that's something that I talk about, like in every jazz history class I've taught at Purdue is at some point I'll say something like, jazz, part of the reason that jazz music exists, there's a lot of different factors, but one is like the South, the Confederacy, like they had all these bands and all these musicians, and when they disbanded, there was abundance of musical instruments to be sold in pawn shops and antique stores in the South. And in addition to that, the U.S. military is the number one like employer of musicians in the world, which is so crazy. Obviously, a lot of other factors for jazz music, but a preponderance of everybody to be able to pick up and find a horn or a drum or something that was part of the military. And so, that kid, he told me the other day, I think he said that when he went through the School of Music recently, the Army was like completely separate and way shorter.
Yeah.
Not doing this, because when I was in, and before when you were in, I remember we didn't march with the Army, but we did classes and we did a lot of stuff with each other. There was a lot of overlap, but
it was like when I first came in, it was like that. They were all together, but the Army will always march separately because they did different drill. But since then, something came down with Big Army and said, hey, you can't. Your basic school has to be the same amount where a reservist and a National Guard member can attend the course, and they get the same training. So they had to shorten the course to whatever the time allotted for the reservists for their schools.
Yeah.
A lot of change there. A lot of stuff crammed in a short amount of time.
Well, I needed the full 6 months. Like I thought I was hot stuff because I played on cruise ships, and I was like, man, maybe I'll graduate from this dump early. And then I ended up then I stayed the whole time, and I ended up having like the time of my life and made all kinds of friends and stuff. But my experience with marching was, I pretty much learned how to march in boot camp. So I was one of the people that needed to be there 6 months because I did not know how to march and play a snare drum or bass drum at the same time.
Wow.
And so things started getting better at the School of Music. Like I realized I was not really anything. I was like, I can't march, and if I can't march, that's like the most important thing. So I start off a little bit rough. I start off on probation. I think everybody started off at the School of Music at the time on probation because someone had done something stupid. And CW05 Jacob was our and someone had done something like a week before I got there. So it was like you were on restriction and for 1 solid month or something.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
And so I was pretty studious, and I was like, okay, I'm going to like do all the the classwork stuff was where I excelled because I'd already taken some music theory classes. So I kind of blazed through those, and I'm getting better at PT. I'm getting up to like 15 pull-ups.
Nice.
And I got down to like 19 something on the run.
Geez. Yeah, that's good.
And so that there was one day I will admit a couple times, we had on restriction, and on the weekends, even after even when you're completely in the most liberated status you can be, you're still not allowed to be out past like 12 or something on the weekend. So if they were doing a rack check, you can go to the bars, but you got to be in your rack by, 0.
Yeah.
Zero dark. And so one night, and I did not do this very often. In fact, I think I only did once or twice. Me and some friends, after we made it out of first phase and we were free, we were like, well, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to take our chances and go out and stay out until 3 a.m. on a Saturday. And man, the next first thing Monday morning, Lance Corporal Cox front and center. I'm like, God, here we go. Here comes the ninja punch.
Yeah.
and they made me platoon guy. I thought it was
Oh, you thought you were in trouble. Oh, that's funny.
yeah. Staff Sergeant then Staff Sergeant Dominique Davilmar,
Yeah.
who called me forward, and I was like, "This is it. This is it. I'm done. I'm going back to PFC. I just got Lance Corporal. Good God,
Yeah.
I'm going back to PFC." And in fact, they did not catch me, and they didn't catch us. And after that, I kind of was on the straight and narrow. I was like, okay, now I got to like do nightly formations for the phase 1 folks. And,
Yeah.
but man, looking back, that was Armed Forces School of Music. 6 months in Virginia Beach would not trade that for the world.
Yeah. It's a nice area. That's for sure. A lot of cool things to do, a lot of cool places to go. So
yeah, just the friends and the closeness of, other branches too. I was like my really good friends with Navy and soldiers, and then yet again, we all go our separate ways.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. So you did your 6 months there in Virginia, and then you had a guarantee to go to Quantico.
Yeah. I graduated and put all my stuff in my Chevy Cavalier and just drove 2 hours up to Quantico. And I remember thinking that it was then Sergeant Kopetsky got me, and it was kind of late. It was like it was maybe in the evening. It was maybe like 18 or 1900 or something. But for whatever reason, the band officer there at the time, Zabo, I think he was like in the office, and Kopetsky was like, she's like, "You're in civilian clothes. Just come in. I'll see if it's okay if you just come in initially. You're going to have to get in your alphas tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh God, I'm not, you sure? Am I going to get in trouble here? Am I supposed to be in service alphas like right off the bat when I check into this place?" And I remember thinking like, Zabo comes out and he's like, nice alphas. And I was like, God. And he was just joking. He's like, "Well, hey, welcome to Quantico, and get you barracks and get your alphas on tomorrow, and we'll have you check in." And I just remember thinking like, that was so much nicer than the last 3 places I checked into.
What a difference.
Yeah. I mean, the music school, as soon as I checked in, I didn't mention this part, we went from MCT to the School of Music, and on the MCT, as we left MCT, there was this like party bus that took us to the airport. And I don't remember if it was because they were where taxis are. This is obviously before Uber. And so we had to just get a taxi or somehow to the airport. But instead of taking a taxi, there was this bus that pulled up, and these like ladies come out and they're like, "Yeah, you guys going from Pendleton to the airport to fly to your next," and we're like, "Yeah." And so like we paid like this hefty amount of cash, and then it was like unlimited booze on this like party bus. I was like so confused. Like somehow, yeah, in the age of pre-Uber, like we get on this bus and we're like partying, and we get to the airport, and I'm like, just passed out on the plane and chilling, and we get to I go all the way to Virginia Beach, and when I get there, I'm in my office and I'm ready to go, and I'm feeling fine. It didn't get too crazy. It was just like a short little ride from Pendleton to the airport, but it's just so funny because they like knew that service members were going to be going places, and they just would keep pulling. They'd have these people pulling in. So whatever that bus was, I don't remember, but I get to Armed Forces School of Music, and it's late at night, and so the next morning I go and check in with my alphas, and I mean, as soon as I like walk in, I didn't like I did something like not exactly correct with reporting in, like I got too close to the desk or something. I just got screamed at and just got go and I think it was Marroquin. I can't remember his name.
Robert Merriking?
Robert, yeah. Then staff sergeant. He was like, "Fix this, Marine." And so all these lance corporals and PFCs are like, "All right, Cox." And so like I was like, "Okay, these people are going to help me." So that's like, that's check-in number 3. You got boot camp, MCT, that place, and then finally Quantico was like, "All right, I'm getting close to being like a normal human being here in Quantico."
Very nice. Oh man. So check it in. You show up that evening at Quantico, and then they set you up with a barracks room and all that type of stuff right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I roomed with then Lance Corporal Aaron Lindsay. We were roommates for a little while, but as soon as I got to Quantico, I was just on it. I did MC. Now I can't even remember the name of them. The educational
MCIs.
I did like a handful of MCIs, and I got my pull-ups to 20, and my run. I got close to a 300 PFT, and I got a 300 CFT, and I picked up corporal in like a few months, and I picked up sergeant at like 2 years.
Nice.
And I picked, so it was nice being, but also I was like old. I was like, I went to boot camp when I was 23 or 24. So I was like, and I really, I got into it. Like I got, and I also was a kind of a green light for deployment, which was a thing that you could kind of be green or you could kind of be red, and it was no shame. It was like the band, when I got to Quantico, half the band just got back from Iraq.
Right. Yeah.
And so, and I was also a little bit, I don't know if it was just immaturity or if I was just jaded or what, but I was like thinking I've been doing this 300 PFT goal now. I'm doing MCIs. I'm getting into it. I want to maybe like deploy, which was maybe like a kind of a childish thing. Like we were in the band, like we were playing these gigs and people are giving me beers. And I'm like, why do I get beers if I'm getting deployed? And I kind of look back at that as like, that's so childish, because being deployed was actually a little bit easier than being in the band. The exactness, and like the uniform, and like Saturday morning, it's 6:06 on Saturday, and we're like uniform inspection because we got to go march in Fairfax or somewhere, or in DC or something. And some of those things I think just made me annoyed to the point where I was like, well, I'd rather just be going somewhere in my camis and not have to deal with the exacting nature of the band or something. But that never really happened. It didn't seem like I was going to deploy, and I was totally fine with, I was going to go the rest of my time without deploying. I'd made some great friends that I still talk to every day. I still talk to Will Pierce every day.
Yeah.
If you know Will?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to know if you guys surely crossed paths somewhere.
Yeah. We crossed paths. Yeah. I wouldn't say I know him real well or anything, but I do know him.
Yeah. I think he's master sergeant now, and he should be close to, or he probably is over 20 years by now. I'm not sure, but
if he's not over, he's very close to. Yeah.
Yeah. Gabe Filkins. And I talked to Gabe on the phone the other day. He was in Quantico at the time. So that period of time was really nice. Going to, I did lose my best friend. I would say at the time, my best friend was, I don't know if you remember this story, Mike Anderson. He was a sergeant in the Marine Corps band who had an incident off base that he lost his life at a party. And then,
oh yeah, I do remember this. Yeah.
And a lot of us, we had to kind of go through like a alcohol kind of, anybody that was at the party had to kind of kind of got in trouble, basically.
Yeah.
So that was a sobering moment. That was really difficult because Mike, when I first got to Quantico, he was the most, like, he was an NCO that was very much helping me get things figured out. Like when I was in the Armed Forces School of Music, I can't remember who it was. There was a staff sergeant there, but he would always say something like, right now, you're crawling. And when you get to Quantico, they're going to be walking and you're going to be crawling and you're going to need to figure out how to like get on their level.
Yeah.
And that's what Mike did to kind of help me get it figured out as a Lance Corporal, and do things the right way and show up on time and make sure that I understood what was expected of me now that I was in the fleet or in the bands for real. So I escorted Mike back to St. Louis area where his father, Harold, who was a Vietnam veteran himself, infantryman, did one 15-month deployment in Vietnam. And for the first time, and made a connection with him, and we still keep in touch. And Steven's stepmom, Sharon, who's really like a mother to him, I still talk to them. I visited them when I lived in Illinois. I haven't seen them in a while, but I plan on changing that. But so I went there and I escorted him and buried him, and just a series of things happened at this point in time. Like, me and my girlfriend at the time had broken up. I'm going to go ahead and say that was my fault. I broke up with her, and I just didn't know what I was doing. I was just an immature person in life.
Yeah.
Did that, lost my friend. Then his wife, Katie, moves back to New Orleans, where she's from, where they met. And my other friend, Aaron, had to basically go into him and his wife got divorced and separated, and he left our unit. And it was basically like all of a sudden I had like this tight group of people, and us all of a sudden like just went away, And then right after that, I got orders, and then I was playing drum set in this. I can't remember the name of the building. So the Quantico Band Hall was getting renovated. We had to move to another building that was like condemned, and I can't. Barrett Barnett. No, that was the street name. Anyway, out there close to officer school, there was this old building. It's like an old hangar. And we were in there, and I remember playing and we were in between like rehearsal and like Carpenter. I can't remember his first name. He like opens the door and he's like, "Cox, you're going to Afghanistan in July." And I'm like, and the whole room's like, "Okay." Oh yeah, I told him I wanted to go and deploy a long time ago.
That's funny. That's funny. That's the way he tells you. Hey, by the way.
It was like a "here's Johnny," it's like his head goes in the door, and he's like, "Cox, you're going to Afghanistan."
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, that's buttoned up right against the end. I mean, I'm like, July, I'm getting out in March. So it was like I went there from July to January.
Yeah.
As soon as I got back in January, I didn't even have time to do anything with the band. I mean, I was already like a few days on terminal leave. In fact, I didn't even have enough time to get all my medical stuff done. So I got like some sort of voucher to, like, when you go home, you can go to your doctor and here's all your medical records, and go to the dentist, do your dental checkout at home and stuff like that, because it was
wow.
Because I got out and I was almost immediately on terminal leave.
Holy cow.
And I think some of the members of the band, particularly the brass, not brass, we only had one officer, but master guns and at the time, and our officer, and they were like maybe a little bit upset. They're like, because because by the time I deployed, I was pretty good at marching, was pretty good at playing, and I was like, and I left the band and just leave a little hole, leave a gap, and it's like, and then I get out, and they're like, well, you have used that, like, I mean, like you get the chance to deploy, and now you're getting out, and I can see like at the time, Master Guns Fangman was like, you know, trying to like, he's like, you got the chance to deploy, and now you're just going to come home and not share this experience and be a, you know, do a second enlistment. And I was like, you know what, I am a little, I could see that to an extent. Yeah. I mean, but also I got accepted into Indiana University. So I was like, I was like, I want to IU and be a graduate teaching assistant, do all that stuff. So
yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about the deployment. Like, you know, what was your roles, your responsibilities, and how did that go?
The billet was called, I think it was called combat driver.
Okay.
So I was expecting it to be you expect there to be a little bit more heat than there was, but basically, it was kind of a ragtag crew. We had this unit, and so I didn't know exactly where I was going. In fact, I thought for a little while I might be going to Qatar.
Okay.
So while we were on the plane, certain people get off in certain places, and they're like, you're going here. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure my orders are for Afghanistan. But some people like got split up, and they're like, no, you're going to Qatar. And then the rest of us stay on, and we're like, okay, now we're going to Afghanistan. So, well, first we went to, actually, let me back up a little bit. There's another person that deployed with me that was also in the band.
Okay.
It was one of my buddies from the Armed Forces School of Music, Perkins.
Okay.
And do you know Perkins, guitar player?
I know the name. Yeah.
So he was in Okinawa, and he was the same as me. He was like green light for deployment, and somehow we were best buds at school of music, and he gets orders and I get orders at the exact same time. We have to go to Lejeune at the exact same time, and we're on the same. And we get there, and we're like, "What are you talking about?" He goes from Okinawa all the way to Lejeune to deploy. To then he goes from Oki to Lejeune, where I meet him, and then we go from Lejeune to. We're just there for a few days, hanging out, processing, and then we go from Lejeune to Amsterdam. No, Lejeune to I think England, and then or maybe just straight from Lejeune to Amsterdam. Nearly miss our flight to Kuwait. Like we were in we're in our camis in Amsterdam, and we had a very small window, and I almost missed my flight to Kuwait, which I was like, that would have been a complete that would have been not good. And so we're like running. We get on the plane. We get to Kuwait. As soon as the door opens up, like I'm standing up with a bag. You know, I've got a sea bag hooked to the front, sea bag hooked to the back, and sea bag. So 4 sea bags. You know, orbited by sea bags. So we're standing up, ready to get off the plane. As soon as the door opens, it was so hot that I remember I just started laughing. Like the door opened, I was like, like it felt like you just stepped into a sauna.
Yeah. Very nice.
And so we do the bag drag, as they say. We take all our bags and we hang out in Kuwait for like a week, processing and just waiting to get a plane to Bagram. So Kuwait was me and Perkins were hanging out in Kuwait, and it was super hot, but it was dry at least. And so then we draw weapons. So we get our M4s there, and then we get on the plane and we go to Bagram in a C-17, big huge thing, and sit and go from Kuwait to Bagram in a C-17. Then we got to hang out in Bagram for a few days, And so it's like, dude, we're on the same. Are we on the same fob? Are we going to be on the same drive team? Like, what the hell? So we get to Bagram. We hang out there for a few days. We get on a plane. I think we got separated, but we both were going to Kabul. So we both went to Kabul. I remember landing in Kabul, and when we land in Bagram, we don't ever go outside the wire at all. We just like land inside this, land in the airfield, and some guy comes and says, "Yeah, we took some indirect fire a while ago or something, but no casualties." And I'm like, "Whoa, it's starting to get real." Okay,
yeah,
and but Bagram was pretty chill, and then them getting out off the plane and getting into a vehicle and then going to your fob and Kabul was where it's like, okay, now it's for real. Like,
yeah,
I'm getting in a Vic, an up armored SUV. I'm getting taken to where I'm going to be working for 6 months. So the guy that I was replacing was the guy that picked me up, and so we went from Kaya, which is Kabul airfield, whatever the Kabul military side of the airfield was, and then they drove me and whoever was going to New Kabul compound in KC, drove us there. And it was basically like on the job training. It was like, you're gonna have a partner. It's going to be you and some other person, and you're going to give them a brief. You're gonna take a colonel or a civilian contractor, or maybe 3 contractors, or maybe 2 majors or something, and you're just basically going to go on missions, and you're going to drive them, because we don't have one big base in Kabul. We have a bunch of tiny bases spread out all over the place because it's a massive city. And so over the course of 6 months, went on hundreds and hundreds of convoys, and most of them were kind of like short. That was kind of like, you just leave the fob, floor it, go 2 miles, and they, radio, ask for permission to enter, and then you'd go in and drop someone off or pick someone up, and it would be the same thing. As soon as you'd leave really fast. You'd just be flooring it, and you just go back to the next place that you were supposed to go. So we never really went on any super long distances.
But what were you driving?
They were like Escalades.
Oh wow, okay.
They were like shoddy Escalades, though. They were like Escalade, or not Escalades. Sorry, it wasn't a freaking Escalade. It was a Chevy like Suburban.
Okay, yeah.
So, but they were up armored. So it was like level 4 armor, and they were just built by Afghanis. Like, they were built by like the lowest bidder. So it was like you'd be driving this SUV that just had all this up armor added to it. So it was kind of slow. And we'd go places, and we'd take people places. And I remember like getting there and seeing the group of people that I was with. And as soon as I check in, like someone finds out that I'm in the band or something, and they like immediately start giving me shit for being in the band.
Yeah.
And then by one, and then literally in a few weeks of being there, I'm now a vehicle commander. Like, I'm like the person that was making fun of me is like is driving, and I'm the vehicle commander. Like,
nice.
I got
kind
of promoted pretty quickly because I just did my job and did as well as I could. I mean, I think I like to think that I represented the band pretty well, and so did Perkins. Went over to Eggers, which was like across the street, and we maintained contact. My buddy Perkins, like, we got cell phones. We got these little flip phones.
No kidding.
We would call each other. Yeah, because we'd be like, I'd be like, hey man, we couldn't say specific times on the phone, but I'd be like, are you going to be by tomorrow? He'd be like, I might or might not be by tomorrow. Like, we'd like hang out. Like,
that's funny.
Come to my base, or I'd go to his. So we'd see each other from time to time. But he was like in a really like nice, he really like nice team. Like they all had sidearms. They all had this high tech gear. They would do route reconnaissance. They'd be taking people around like, Secretary of the Navy or something.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Whereas me and my team, our ragtag team on New Cobble Compound, we're more so like, our biggest passenger is a 1-star general, a colonel. Sometimes, I'm not kidding you, it'd be like a crate of potato chips. we'd have like a pallet, not a crate, a pallet wrapped with and someone like one of these little tiny fobs would just like need a food supply, like MREs or something. And so we'd literally take a fork truck, we had up armored SUVs, but we also had up armored F-350s, 1-ton Ford truck. Yeah. So we get in the Ford truck and if we had a pallet of something that needed to go to Eggers or Phoenix or something, we'd take a pallet of like food. And so my buddy Perkins is on this high speed team, and he's like making fun of me like he's calling me like and he still calls me like decoy, like the human decoy. He's like, because we were such ragtag. Like, I didn't get a sidearm. I didn't even get qualified with a pistol. I just had a long gun the entire time.
Wow.
And so he'd call me he still calls me the human decoy. And like the pictures of him deployed with his team, and they've got all this stuff on, they've got all this special gear, and they're like standing with the Secretary of the Navy, and he gets all these coins. I mean, he gets so many coins. So he got a coin from then Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta. He somehow got an extra one. He gave me one. So I have some coins that I didn't even really earn. I have Secretary of the Navy. I have I think Ray Mabus at the time was his name.
Yeah.
And I have a few high-speed coins just because he was on those teams, but also I have a couple that I got myself. I remember the assistant commandant Dunford was there, and he came to our fob and he spoke to us. There were a lot of I remember some generals came and around Christmas time. And I remember thinking like so highly of them. Like there were generals that basically just flew to Afghanistan on the holidays specifically, just to go on a tour and just to say hello and to say that they were like supporting us. You know what I mean? And I remember thinking like, I have a lot of faith in this country's military. I was like, no matter what we're tasked with doing, we're going to do it really well.
Yeah.
We have great leadership, and I was like very impressed with our leadership, because I remember at the same time, I remember seeing a thing from Senate. There was senators and congressmen and women, and it was like they recorded this pre-recorded thing where someone was just standing outside the Capitol building as they're walking out, and they're like, "Would you like to say something to the troops?" And it was just like, a random senator being like, "Yeah, happy holidays, see you later." And it was like they're just like walking past, as like versus these generals are like, "I'm going to leave my wife and come hang out with the troops on Christmas and New Year's and just spend time with you guys." And so that really gave me a lot. It was like gave me a lot of pride.
Yeah. That is a cool thing that they because there's a lot of times that general officers and stuff like that do that. It's pretty cool. And many times, at least through the war times, you see the presidents, vice presidents that will go out and like get on the food line and feed people or whatever. And it's around the holiday seasons when they do that stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the holidays. Man, there's so many. It's like there's so many stories. There's so many crazy, weird things. Like we never, when I left, I earned a Joint Meritorious Achievement Medal. Did not earn a combat action ribbon. We did not get engaged, and we never engaged anyone else. But there were also vehicles that got blown up by suicide vehicle-borne IEDs. And I remember on on October. It was like, I think it was like Halloween in September, or Halloween of 2011. There was this one, it was a really bad day where the fob across the street from us, they had this Rhino, this troop carrier, armored personnel carrier that basically, some guy in a suicide vehicle vehicle. He's driving a car. It's got a toggle switch. The toggle switch is hooked up to a trunk full of explosives. He basically just pulls his Vic right in between like two vehicles, hits the toggle switch, flips this armored personnel carrier on the side, and everybody inside was trapped and burned to death.
Oh,
and
wow.
then,
Jeez.
and right after that's over, it's like, hey, you got to go take someone down that route now. Like,
Yeah.
you got to go down there. So I was very fortunate to never have experienced, never got hit by an IED.
Yeah.
And I think a lot about the people that have, we're driving and we're all of a sudden, just so many people. That's how so many people were lost in Afghanistan and Iraq, was this improvised, explosive, asymmetrical warfare. Just all of a sudden you could be gone like that. So very, very fortunate to make it out and not have, the mental or physical damage of, so many other people. So,
well, there's a lot of mental aspects to like, even if you don't get hit, the idea of I've got to go in that same spot in that same area, and I'm going constantly back and forth and doing these things while I'm in the areas that people are getting hit. It's just, is it going to be my day or not?
Yeah. We drove really fast, and there's also something to be said. It's not like this is 100% true, but if the American military, we don't send people on suicide missions. We don't do anything to where we expect casualties. We do everything. And so I'd like to think that part of the reason, me and whoever I was with did so well or managed to not get hit is because, every morning we get up, you read the intel report, you read, this route is black, this route is green, you don't want to go here. You might not want to go here unless you absolutely need to. And you have to do things the right way. And actually, I credit the band with making me a Marine that knows how to follow orders and do things and to a T with the exact precision. And that's, I credit the band with me getting to become a vehicle commander quickly and to, having responsibility pretty quickly in a world, I was the drive team I was on was half grunts, and it was half grunts, and there were some sailors, there were some submariners, there were some Air Force guys. It was just a very hodgepodge group of people. And I like to think I earned their respect. And I think that the respect came from, the band has a pretty high standard, Marine bands, men and women are good PTers, good Marines.
Yeah.
And wouldn't change that aspect, wouldn't change that being a Marine, bandsman for anything in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said, how long was the deployment that you were on?
Just right around 6 months.
6 months. Okay. And so you basically, knew that whenever you were leaving there, that you were basically going on terminal as soon as you got back.
Yeah. I got home and it's like January 16th or something. And I performed not at all with the band. I just started checking out. Like, I think they maybe gave me I think my platoon sergeant or something was like, you can sleep in tomorrow and then just, start checking out, just on your own. So I was on my own and checked out for a couple weeks. And when, my EAS was March 16th, and I had a decent chunk of terminal saved up. So I got back to Monaco and I bounced pretty quickly.
Yeah. And you ended up going out to Indiana, correct?
Yeah. I went to I remember auditioning. So I was in Quantico and wasn't thinking about deployment. This is like a year prior. And we were at the rifle range at the time, but I had to prepare an audition for IU's School of Music, which IU's in Indiana's School of Music is pretty big and it's pretty kind of competitive. And so I'd get home, I remember coming home from the range and practice. We had this dinky little xylophone. I'm practicing like xylophone excerpts. I'm practicing like timpani excerpts. I remember falling asleep one time, like with my face down on the xylophone. Like I was like just like this, and like woke up and putting this all together, and flew home while I was in Quantico, flew to Indiana, and they weren't expecting me. I filled out the paperwork to be a graduate student in music education, and they didn't. And I was also planning on auditioning for percussion. I was led to believe by the faculty there that if you're a master's student in education, you also have to go through the percussion audition, but no one seemed to know who I was. And I was like, well, I've flown all the way here from Virginia. Can someone please listen to me play these percussion things? I've been practicing for like months. And so I stuck around till they were completely done auditioning everyone. And they let me play at night. And they're like, wow, like you want to be a graduate teaching assistant in percussion performance instead? And I was like,
oh, wow.
Well, let's see what the education people offer. So I was going there for education. I was going to be a band director.
Yeah.
But then after that audition, they said, well, maybe you could have a full scholarship, or not a scholarship, a teaching assistantship if you do percussion. So I kind of switched based on that. And so that was in place while I deployed. So because I applied early just to test it out. I applied early just because I knew I could defer my enrollment by a year. And I was taking lessons with Steve Owen from the President's Own.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was planning on getting, when I got out, I was planning on going to some school for music. I was like, I know I got the GI Bill, and I got a hold of the President's Own, and I sent them a message, and I was like, does anybody want to teach me by chance? And Steve Owen was like, well, you're a Marine. You can come up here to the band hall and I'll give you lessons for free. So nice. I got free lessons from one of the guys, Steve Owen. I owe that guy to this day. And he got me ready for this IU audition. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be out of the military in time to go. He's like, just audition a year in advance. He's like, practice auditioning. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And then when I found out when they finally let me audition and they finally figured out, who I was, and that I was, well, it's weird because I was applying for music education. So none of the people in performance knew who I was. And right, but when they said, hey, maybe you can be a performance major, I was like, well, can I defer? Can I enroll a year later? And they're like, yeah, you can come a year later and you can still be a teaching assistant. And I was like, wow, okay, well, let's go ahead and just stop with the auditions right now. I'm going to go ahead and count that one. And then I got orders to deploy right after that. So that was like the motivation was, while I was gone, I was like thinking, I was like, sweet, man, whenever I get back, I'm going to be able to go to IU and use my GI Bill and have an assistantship. So.
Wow, that's really cool. So what was that like for you? Because that's coming off a deployment, and for anybody, it's an adjustment. But you're going directly over and not auditioning. You're going to a teaching assistant position, and what was that like?
Man, it was rough. It was rough at first because, and there was a little bit of time, like January, I get back from Afghanistan. I go home. I help my dad farm in the spring. Mm-hmm. I moved to Bloomington in the beginning of the summer because I'm like, I need to start practicing now because there are these 20-year-old kids that are going to be 10 times better than me. So I need to I haven't been playing at all for the last 8 months, 10 months.
Yeah.
So I moved to Bloomington, and I lived there over the summer before school starts. And then when school starts, one of the reasons that they gave me an assistantship was not because I was such a great player. I think one of the reasons I got an assistantship was because I was coming out of the Marine Corps, and they had a class that meets at 8 a.m. every day that needs to be taught. That's percussion techniques class. That's why I got an assistantship at IU.
They knew you'd wake up and go to teach the class.
Yeah. So for my 4 semesters of my master's degree, I taught this daily 8 a.m. percussion class to music majors that were not percussion. The music ed students that play clarinet.
Yeah,
need to learn something about percussion. So I teach these non-majors or non-percussionists, and it was rough because I remember the very first. I'm coming right out of the Marine Corps, and I'm teaching now a class. I've never taught a college class in my life. Never taught a class in my life, and I'm like yelling at these kids. I'm not getting it. Like, I don't understand that these are massively different paradigms. College and the Marine Corps, and it was rough. And I remember being like confused and like lost, feeling like I can't, like, these kids hate me. I can't get them to do anything. They don't respond to anything I'm doing. I'm yelling at them, and they're just like, who is this psychopath that is like teaching music classes at IU now? Like, who are you? Like, why does this person come in here?
My God, that's good.
And I didn't get a whole lot of help. Like, the guy that hired me, one of the faculty members, I was like, so I'm teaching percussion techniques class. I'm like, what should I do to prepare? He's like, get the syllabus off the previous guy. I was like, okay. Anything else? To any more help with this at all? Like, no, that's it. Talk to the previous guy. And man, the first semester, the reviews were bad. Like, the students leave reviews. They're leaving reviews that are like, this guy's completely nuts. And but I started to learn slowly. Second semester, reviews got quite a bit better. It was like, okay,
that's good. That's good.
And by the third semester, the reviews were very good.
Okay.
So, like, I taught so 4 semesters in a row. I'm sorry to the people that took that first semester from me. But I wasn't really given any, it was just like, just thrown in there. It's like, this guy's going to get the job done. You know what I mean? It was like,
yeah. That's good. I'm digging it.
Made it through, and since then I've taught a bunch of classes, and I understand that not everyone responds well to Marine Corps language, and that's okay.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. It's a whole new world out there,
Mm-hmm.
So you got to learn it.
Yeah.
Man, that's too good.
Yeah.
So you did that, and you got your master's degree while you were doing that, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was, and I also got back into the reserves a little bit too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was in this comms unit in Indianapolis. So my first year at IU, I got out. And then my second year of my master's, I got in and I just flirted around. I just basically did the reserves for like 6 or 7 months, not very many drills. And it was like, since my, and I was just like, yeah, the reserves is just, I'm not feeling it. And, so I just did that for like 6 or 7 months. I didn't really do much of anything while we were in Indianapolis because I didn't have a specialty that really helped them in their comms unit. So I was just like I was just basically a sergeant that was like doing CFT, PFT, helping out with some administrative things. And I was like, I'm not really contributing much here. And so I got out of that, finished the master's, had really a bad finish at IU, not necessarily me bad finish, but like a bad like a relationship that kind of turned sour with one of the faculty members that kind of like made me want to never teach in colleges again. In addition to the fact that I kind of got thrown to the wolves with that class.
Yeah.
I was I felt just so lost and so angry at that. And then in addition to that, one of the faculty members like just seemed to not really like me, and it kind of took things out on me, and I applied to stay there as a jazz student to get another master's, and I kind of was led to believe that I was going to get admitted. And then at the audition, he threw me all these things that were not on the list. So I was made to look like a complete fool. He was like, "Why don't you try this?" And I was like, "Well, I've practiced these things over here." And then I just so I didn't get admitted to this other program. And so the ending was bad, and I just leave. And I'm like, well, I'm done. I'm completely done with like academia. So I move home. And I back to helping dad on the farm, live at home for like a year, like not sure what I'm doing with my life at all. And a job opens up at Purdue. And after being an IU fan, I don't know if you know IU and Purdue are in-state rivals. And I was like, oh, unlikely. I'll go to the school that I always hated. And then work there. Be a traitorous.
Yeah.
So it started off as a student teaching, and then not student teaching. It was a teaching assistantship, but it was basically an adjunct faculty disguised as a student teaching. Like I had to be enrolled in 3 classes or 3 credit hours per semester, but I wasn't getting it, didn't have any attention. So I was a graduate teaching assistant and took like a 3 credit hour class and like a 3 credit hour class, and was basically helping with all the jazz bands for 2 semesters. And then I was like, well, I'm not interested in doing this because I don't want to keep taking classes. So they hired me adjunct. And so the second year I just basically directed one band that they didn't have enough instructors for. So I just directed one band. Well, then that job got eliminated. They created a new full-time position, and it was, I didn't get it. It was like a full-time position with kind of overlapping responsibilities. And so I went to Illinois. So the job that I had got eliminated, and I went to Illinois, still had some GI Bill left, got a doctorate in jazz studies over the course of 4 years as a graduate teaching assistant. Again, when I finished that, I come back because there's another opening in Purdue, and it's a 1-month position that I'm led to believe is going to be longer term. So I come back to Purdue in 2024, and that job gets eliminated. And yet again, I applied for the full-time position that was to be created. Didn't get it. Yet again, someone new comes in, and yet I'm out of a job. So liberal arts department comes a calling. They're like, hey, we've got a couple classroom teachers we think you could help with. And so that's where I'm currently at. I'm currently teaching 4 classroom classes, no longer directing bands, which is good because I can hear. So that's nice. And but yet again, like I'm teaching these classes on these temporary contracts, and I'm like, I've applied for a job that's overlapping with my current responsibilities 3rd time. And I'm pretty sure that I didn't get this job a 3rd time being an internal candidate, applying, watching someone from the outside come in, get their own office, long-term employment. And I'm like, and they just keep throwing me like table scraps. Like I've taught 12 unique classes at Purdue University, never with a guarantee of a future. Like it's like humiliating. And it's like, it's also nice because if this political aspiration is successful, then I won't have to deal with it anymore. But in the meantime, it is just like don't send your kids to music school to tell them for the purpose of teaching at music school, because it is just, just rough out there.
Yeah. Wow. That's wild. So that's where you are now. You're hanging out there and you're getting ready to run for office. Now, if you don't mind, can you talk a little bit about like why is it that you chose to start running for office?
I think the first thing that made me want to run for office was seeing people getting taken up off the streets, abductions and plainclothes officers, people going to unknown locations. I think that people's 14th Amendment rights have been violated quite a bit. And I think that, I think it's something like 170 American citizens have been rounded up that we know of, but it's possibly quite a bit more than that. So I think that's one reason to get that got me inspired to run is, my name's Cox. I'm a white boy. I'm not going to it's not a problem that I have to deal with, and I can continue to not deal with problems that don't affect me. But I was like, I finally got, some income. I've got a house. I've got no wife. I've got no partner. I've got no kids. Got no pets. I was like, I think someone like me should be running for office because it's a pretty toxic world. And then, if you did have kids and you did have a family, I don't know that I would, be jumping in the same way I am now because of how toxic it gets. But that's, the one aspect of it is the heavy-handedness of our 3-letter agencies, but also in Indiana, particularly, like there are all these data centers that are coming in, and we don't have any real pushback against them. Like these data centers are coming in, and you see them coming into, like, for instance, the district that I'm trying to represent has 14 counties and 3 partial counties. So it's a big chunk of Indiana, one of 9 districts. Half of the counties here, there's some data center or some corporation that's coming in, and it's just a terrible deal. Like they're going to come in, they're not going to produce that many jobs. They're going to get a huge tax abatement. They jack up people's energy costs. Residential utilities are just doing this for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's because massive corporations can do that, and they can pass off their utilities, and they can, maybe not even stay there for very long too. They can, and I just feel like a lot of communities, and particularly small town America, get pushed around, and we get sold snake oil, and we think that they're going to come do something for us.
Yeah.
But they don't really produce for us like like one thing that we could have is, if a data center is going to come in and consume 4 million gallons of water a day, well, then maybe a congressperson could say you can only have a closed loop system. So we could, like, let's regulate them so that they can't, like, torch communities so hard. I think that we should have the burden should be on, the big money. The burden should not fall on, people that work in a factory that, I'm just trying to, I feel like the wealth is kind of going from down up right now. And I think that everyday folks are just getting pushed over. And that's what happens when you have Congress that is so bought and paid for with money. Like so many races, all the races are determined by money. And that's how you have a Congress that's 30% approval rating. And yet we keep electing the same people. Is because the big money controls all these elections now. So.
Yeah, that's a true statement. I think it's an incredible thing, for one, that you're getting involved in it and pushing, from a veterans standpoint as well. But it's so important for veterans to get involved, whether that's running for office or whether that's doing different things within the community. But, within the veteran community, we should get involved, and we should, put our 2 cents in, if you will. I think it's very important.
Yeah, it's a different. I mean, it's still service. It's a different kind of service.
True. Yeah.
And and a lot of it really is not to be too generic or anything, but I mean, really, a lot of it is not really left or right. I think it's a top to bottom. I think it's if you don't have money, you're just at an incredible disadvantage, and you just don't have as much of a voice in society unless you've got a ton of capital. And it'd be better if we had, if you still had an equal voice and the society worked for 99% of the people instead of
true
10 or whatever.
Good point. Well, shoot, man, it was great having you on and hearing your experiences, and it's been fun, man. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, man. I can't believe I just talked. I can't believe
I told you. I told you it's gonna go by quick, and you're not even gonna realize it. Yeah.
Oh man, it's been a blast, and it's been really nice to kind of air all that out. There's some grievances in there, but also just it's nice to be able to talk about.
Absolutely.
Thanks for providing that opportunity.
You bet, man. You bet.
Great talking to you as well.
What's that?
I said, great talking to you. You didn't tell me about your story much at all, Master Guns.
No, you don't want to hear my story, man. The whole purpose of this is to get your story. So, and your story, just like everybody else's, is going to be archived with Marine Corps History Division. So I send all of the recordings and everything up there. They archive them all. So you're going to be archived with the likes of, Chesty Puller and all those other cats like that, so you're just as good as them, man.
I can say I'm a Marine. I don't know if I'm
Oh, that's funny. Well, hey, man, whenever I get to the end of these, I have these rapid fire questions that I ask. So if you're down, then I'll ask you these questions.
Sure.
All right. What is your proudest military moment?
I'd say, okay, this is going to sound a little bit strange, but marching in the cherry blossoms parade or whatever that was in DC, and we had our Quantico was the band in the middle, and I played heavy left for all so like no matter what the band was playing, all of us in a huge line, I just played heavy left for the entire parade and marched all the troops from in the entire cherry. So that was actually probably number one.
Wow. That's pretty wild. I mean, a heavy left the entire parade is no joke.
And marching Army, they're like, you got to be able to hear that at the front of this formation and all the way at the back. And so Cox, heavy left as long as you're alive.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's a pain in the butt right there. Wow. All right. What is your most embarrassing military moment?
Well, I don't know. Probably just checking in at a new unit is all. Checking in at the School of Music, getting screamed at. Checking in at Afghanistan, and everybody's calling you a pogue, and everybody's and stuff like that. But that's not really that embarrassing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say just whenever you get yelled at and screamed at from other people. So probably checking into the Armed Forces School of Music and getting just like thrown out into the hallway and having to get fixed by everybody, and then they send you back in, trying that about 5 times. Probably something like that.
Okay. I like it. All right. If you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
Man, that's a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many good ones. I mean,
yeah. Man, I tell you what, like Dunford and those people that came to come visit us when we were in Afghanistan, to be the commandant or the assistant commandant of the Marine Corps. I'm also a big fan of Admiral. I think he's retired now. McCraven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Uh,
think he is. Yeah.
former JSOC commander. He gave a really good speech at University of Texas at Austin. That's a tough question, AJ. I
Yeah.
don't know.
All right. It's okay. It's okay. There's a lot of them out there. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I could really choose one, to be completely honest with you. I think it
Mhm.
depends on the day. Depends on the mood, so it could
Mhm.
change frequently.
Yeah, I'm like Sun Tzu or like
Yeah.
coming out of
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
rainwater. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. All right. What is one lesson or skill that you learned that you still use today?
I'd say people skills, professional skills,
Mm,
and and efficiency.
yeah.
I also like. I think actually, and this doesn't maybe answer your question, but like how important you are and how much you're capable of.
Mm,
I feel like the military breaks you down, but they really also then make you understand like it doesn't work well without you, and it doesn't. We need you, and everyone is kind of important, and that's also true in society.
yeah.
Like everybody can be very important in society. So, but that's not really a skill. I don't know, professionalism
Yeah.
and just being on time and being a good person to being someone that other people want to be around,
Yeah.
and being a team player, and when you do that, other things just kind of shine through.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. I like it. I like it. All right, here we go. In the zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice and what anthem will be playing?
Um. Okay. Anthem that's going to be playing is probably going to be Another Round by The Scratch. If you've never heard that
Okay.
song,
Yeah.
Irish
All right.
band.
That's good.
um,
Okay.
weapon of choice. I'm going to be boring here. I'm just going to say I just need an M4 and 6 mags.
Nice.
I don't
Nice.
need. I don't want a machine gun. All right, just give me a semi-automatic.
Yeah.
And a
Just whatever
friend.
it is that you need to survive, and you're good, right?
Yeah, that's good enough for me.
Yeah. 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 All right. What animal best describes your time in service?
This is the easiest question I've ever been asked in my entire life. The answer is gopher.
Oh, okay.
Like, I mean, I played rugby for a little while, for a very brief period of time in Quantico.
Yeah.
And when you play rugby, there'd be like a mixture of officers and enlisted, and you didn't know what people that were playing on the club were. You knew that what coach was like a lieutenant colonel or something, but everybody would have nicknames, and I was nicknamed Gopher. And then my friend Perkins called me Gopher. A lot of people called me Gopher, and it just seems like I was always kind of doing random Gopher things, like
Yeah.
go for this, go for that. So
Right. That's good, man. I like that.
a ton of not gophers, but a ton of groundhogs in Quantico too, and so that was kind of an inside joke. There's a
Yeah.
ton of groundhogs on base, and
It's
they
very true, though.
closely related to gopher.
I love it. That's the first time I've heard gopher, though. So, so you're one of one right now. I've never heard it from anybody else.
Hell
So.
yeah! All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
100%.
Nice.
No question.
Well, I always give time for words of wisdom at the end, or anything you want to leave our listeners with. This is your parting shot, man. Whatever it is you want to say.
Yeah, I'm glad I joined the military. I think that I'd like to thank everybody. I thank you for your service as well, and for everybody that stepped up to the plate. But there are also other ways to serve. There are other ways to serve your community if you don't think that the military is it. Like I'm learning right now. I thought I was really serving our country in the Marine Corps, and that was how you serve it. But now I'm like kind of learning the other ways. You can serve like right here where you live, and you can do something that doesn't involve joining the military, and you can do that right now. Doesn't take much effort to do. So be kind to one another, I guess. It's an increasingly toxic world out there. So try to be the opposite of that.
Yeah. Man, I like it. Shoot. Thanks for coming on and doing this, man. I appreciate it. I've had a good time. I appreciate your stories. I can understand everything, especially when you're talking about the music stuff. Like I said, I don't get a lot of musicians on here all the time. So whenever I do, it's always exciting to hear somebody else's perspective. So
well, thank you.
Cool.
Thank you so much for having me. Now that I've been on a couple podcasts, I need to increase my background game. Like you're like I've got this door closed. I need to at least like you can see the bathroom. Maybe there we go.
Yeah. Yeah. I always thought to myself, what am I going to do with all this stuff? Like this is stuff I've collected over the years, and I'm like, so here we go. I got it. Yeah. I figured it out finally, and I just throw it up back there, and it is what it is. So that's 25 years worth of crap. That's what that adds up to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I had that much. I got a few things. I only got 4 years worth of stuff. So
yeah. Well, shoot, man. Thanks again for doing this. I truly appreciate it. I'll end it the same way I always do, and that's talking about veteran suicide and ways to get help. So to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some good resources. You can dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know Drew cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, man. One last time, thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. To all the listeners, stay motivated.
No more 22. On to the journey and finish the fight.